am Markie Madden, founder of Metamorph Publishing. Glad to be here.
So describe your writing process.
Well, I used to just sit down, when I was much younger, before cancer. Brain doesn't work the same way that it used to. It's just a side effect of the chemotherapy. I have started using some outlines and keeping some notes and things like that to Scrivener writing software. Notes right in the project, like what character number one looked like, what they dislike, blah, blah. And it keeps it all right there. It's easy to go back and see, well, what color hair did, things like that I can't remember anymore without actually going back and reading it. I've started to use a little bit of plotting. I just sit down and write if I can.
Use music in the background or noise? Do you need noise around you, or is it silence?
Usually the TV, having a little background noise. And 2 dogs in the house, that makes a little noise too.
What are some cliches that you're careful to avoid when it comes to writing about vampires and werewolves?
Characters are normal. They're meant to be like you and I, and they live right next door to you and I. They have kind of the same trials that they have to go through as immigrants do.
Or you begin with your researching process. Is it during your writing, at the beginning of the writing, or at the end of the writing?
I kind of do a little bit at a time. As far as my crime novels, I worked security for probably 23 years. So I have knowledge of some of that.
How do you deal with an editing note that you don't agree with? What's the best way?
Well, if there's something I don't agree with, I'll go to like a website like maybe Grammar Girl, just like that, and see kind of what the general consensus from people is on the issue, or my thought to his thought, and see where we go from there. A lot of times he doesn't really come up with stuff that I don't think. We have kind of a similar thought process, so just mostly having the extra eyeballs catch a misspelling of something that I did, because you read over the same stuff over and over, work, and your brain already knows what you're trying to say, but that might not be computer.
Writer's blindness, right?
Yeah.
What's one tip for writing a law enforcement character?
If you're writing a female law enforcement character, you have to give her a split personality. You have to come across a lot tougher nonsense maybe than the men would have to do. And since this is you're a woman and you can be a pushover, how to make her tough, at least on the exterior. I'm in law enforcement. I drew my weapon twice in the line of duty, and I laid hands physically on somebody once in the line of duty in that 23 years. Just that attitude, you don't mess with me.
One thing you taught or told your daughter when she came to you and asked to have her writing to start being published?
She writes on a younger level, of course, being that she's only 17 years old. She wanted to write in first person present tense. That's difficult, I think, even for a lot of seasoned writers to stay in that present tense. I think we eventually went to first person past tense, characters' points of views in different chapters and whatnot, so it wasn't confusing to the reader. But when I first looked at it, there was a lot of I did this, I do that, I was, I am. Mm-hmm. A little confusing.
You've been doing a lot of book festivals and Comic-Cons lately. So tell us, what's one tip in attracting people to your table? What would you say is a most effective way to get people to engage with you at these events?
the Comic-Con that we did in Cape in April was very big. I think they said they had 3,000 people through the door one day. You engage, I think, if you just like sit behind a table and look all pretty and authory, I don't think it attracts much attention as if you get out and interact. I had flyers I had printed out with my books listed on there, the website, you know, and handing them out left and right, left and right, left and right.
What's the best comment you've ever received about your writing?
Told me I was going to be the next J.D. Robb.
Very cool.
Is the pen name for Nora Roberts, and you know, there's no way I can even get close to that. But I mean, it was nice to hear.
What's your go-to swear word?
I'm not sure we could say it live on the air.
Well, we're not live, but that's fine. If you don't want to tell me, it's fine too.
Okay, when my kids were younger and we would just put the F in front of another word like ugly, like that dog is so fugly. So I kind of still do that. I call it, when I have to do the editing process, I call it fediting, you know.
What do you think was your favorite moment or thing about the Summer Book Awards that you just did? What did you like the most?
I really enjoyed seeing authors' reactions with them that they had been nominated. At first, it started out, I thought, in my own circle of author friends. As it really got rolling, I was finding authors I'd never even interacted with before, leaving messages on their page that, hey, somebody's, you know, nominated such and such for this. They were just blown away. They were stunned a lot of times. I mean, there's no contest open to us. I mean, there's contests out there. They're very limited. You either can't have been published before, or it's only in a very narrow genre, or you have to pay a lot of money to enter. And I wanted something that was just going to be fun and was going to spread exposure for other authors. Be a good time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for the most part, it came off like that, especially at the end with the party and everybody celebrating a bit. I thought that was a really good indicator of how well this thing was really received.
Oh, absolutely. And there's good people, there's good authors all over out there, and finding them is hard. But if you can get a bunch of them together that have never interacted before, just kind of widens a little bit.
Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all your hard work during the award show. That was really cool. Thanks for letting us be a part of it.
Joe, I'm happy to be here anytime.
So, at these Comic-Cons, what's one actor that you hope someday to get a selfie with?
I don't know. Anybody from the original Star Treks would be cool. A chance one time to meet George Takei, who played Sulu. He was a really, really nice man. But in April, just had her books published the month before that, so we only had 5 paperback copies for her. The last one that she sold was to Santiago Cirillo. He was a character, I think, Julio in season 4 of The Walking Dead. Her last zombies that she had with her, and I mean,
Awesome.
at 17, how cool was that?
Right, exactly. That's pretty cool.
Well, right now I'm actually reading an independent Neil Newton. You probably know him.
Uh-huh.
the railroad.
Uh-huh. Sure. Yeah.
Then, and at the beginning, where the main character was stuck in the subway, I actually got on Messenger. I looked up Elizabeth, his wife, and said, "Is it a true story or what?" Because it was told, but you couldn't imagine that the writer had not been in that situation. Indeed, he had been stuck in a subway during 9/11, and I mean that just blew me away.
Yeah. Amazing story.